I just talked to him, and I told him, I said, I'm not discouraged. I'm not disappointed with where we're at. I'm pissed off.
How like being poets at an arcade, soaking moonlit falls, unbroken baskets in updated orb that we call home, and it's night and I'm alone and I'm alive.
Welcome to Talkin VAWLS, episode number 108. And before we go any further, I just want to say on behalf of Dauber, JP, and myself, happy Veterans Day to all of those out there that have served or are currently serving. I know a lot of you guys that hang out in this chat. I saw IC86. I know that he has served. I know that Tim Bradley, even though he doesn't show up on Wednesdays, he will catch the replay of this. But I know there's a ton of you. There's a ton of you down there in the chat that have served in the past or are currently serving. Hats off to you. It's because of you guys that we have the opportunity to do what we do. But we're going to get into this thing. We're going to talk some football, even though the game Saturday has been postponed. There's still a lot to talk about. My name is Boogie Bentley.
I'm Balls JP.
And I'm Dauber. What's happening?
Let's see who's hanging out in the chat. Aquatical was here bright and early. Says, hey, y'all. Ron Luster is here. Alan V. Troll Patrol is here. Doesn't know the difference between morning and evening. Good morning, afternoon, or evening, whatever the case may be. It's totally fine. Courtney Holland was hanging out. J Long 5000. Randy Wilson was here. IC86 is here. Smash that like button. Like button is smashed like the SEC schedule this week. Yeah, it is. It is. But, we didn't even – usually we kind of talk about where we're going to go, what we're going to discuss. Look, Tim Bradley is here. Thank you for your service, Tim.
What's up, Tim?
Do you think it's a good thing? It's a good thing that this game on Saturday got postponed to give this team what better time than now when the wheels are falling off? Give them an extra week.
Yeah, we said that when we had a bye week before Arkansas.
It's true.
Are we just delaying the inevitable?
Maybe.
I guess I guess I'll have to say wait until next Saturday and see how we play against Auburn. I guess if the bye week was a bit beneficial or not. I mean, if you think about it, you would think that this would give them more opportunity to get some of these younger guys to play. And if we don't see some of these younger kids starting to play, I think that's a narrative that some of these kids are going to possibly look at, and say, they're not even giving me an opportunity to even play. So with this penalty of the transfer rule, coming into place in January, I don't know. There's just a lot of variables that are going into this, but you would hope that we would at least be able to get some kind of, second string quarterback to at least look like that they could actually, play and complete a pass or two with the second bye week in 3 weeks, basically. So we'll see.
Yeah, I was just going to add kind of where you're going there. Yeah, we saw two guys last week put their name in the transfer portal. So I think that there are some rumblings. We touched on it Monday night in the call-in show. That there's a lot more going on within this program than I think is out there between the players, between the coaching staff, and it's coming out to the fans too. And it's good to hear Pruitt say he's pissed off because there's a lot of other people that are pissed off. I'm pissed off. I'm not happy at all where this team is at and the state of things in Knoxville right now.
Look, man, this fan base, there's a lot of pissed off people. You're right, but it's divided, man. And I told you guys when we went off air and I was sitting here throwing together a cover photo while we were talking, I told you guys, I said, this one's going to generate some heat, so get ready for it. the first time in the history of Talkin VAWLS, I got a message sent to my personal Facebook account threatening the three of us to keep our mouths shut about Coach Jeremy Pruitt. What's like, come on, keyboard warrior, what are you doing? Like, but that's how pissed off people are. Like, but it's hot or cold. Either they want Pruitt gone or they want you to shut up. And look, I'm one of those guys. I'm one of those guys that I'm usually defend the coach to the end of the earth. And I'm over it. I'm over it. When I start seeing things that are concerning, I'm going to bring them up and I'm going to talk about them on this show. And this is our platform to do that. So if people don't like it, they're just going to have to get over it. Lee Huber drops a $5 super chat. Thanks for the support, Lee. He says, I guess we missed out on Bailey playing this Saturday. Lee, what time did you start drinking, buddy? I guess we missed out on Bailey playing this Saturday since JG was hurt. Look, yeah, JG was probably, in concussion protocol. Yeah, Bilbo, I am serious. I didn't respond. I just deleted the message, but people are crazy. It is what it is. It's fine.
Well, hey, listen, what we entered the show with talking about thanking all the veterans. That's what they've, dedicated their service to. That's what that's all about is the freedoms that we're guaranteed, the freedoms that we have because of what they do. And to be a fan, you can be critical. You can have an opinion. I tell you, I've got a piece of paper hanging on my wall in my office upstairs from the University of Tennessee, Knoxville that gives me a right to criticize my school that I went to. And it's just that thing.
The funny thing is the people that were the most pissed off were just pissed off because it was a clickbaity top. It was a clickbait cover photo. I knew that going in. If you listen to the show, we went at it, from all different angles. I think we gave Pruitt a fair shot, all of us. And I'm pretty sure that two of us on the show said he deserved more time. JP's been pretty open and out about he's ready to move on. That's fine. Like it doesn't make him any less of a fan. It drives me nuts. This whole thing of people like you are what hurt this No, people like us are not what hurt this program. People like us are what make this program. People like us that dedicate our time and our energy and our money supporting this program. We're what build that university. It takes fans to build a university, not just players and coaches. Hopkins, lacrosse fan, is here with a $5 super chat. Thanks, Hop. Good evening, gentlemen. Thank you from a proud Navy vet. This will give everyone a chance to take a collective breath and reboot. Go Big Orange. For sure, Hop. And also thank you for your service. Dauber's right, man. It's because of guys like Hop and IC86 and Tim that give us the opportunity to sit here and run our mouths about Tennessee football. Way more important things. But it is still something that we're passionate about. But let's go back to the quarterback deal. Somebody earlier.
And I mean, we're sitting here as fans, and, we've said it multiple times on here. We're not experts. We're not anything. We are just diehard fans. And yes, I mean, we wear our emotions on our sleeves. But, ever since that game Saturday night, really ever since the Kentucky game, I mean, this fan base has started to erode more and more away from Pruitt and, the things that he said in his press conferences, some of the decisions that he keeps on making, the fact that he keeps putting Garantano out there, when it's obvious that anybody on that roster, as far as quarterbacks go, could basically run the same offense that they ran Saturday night in the first half. So, I mean, there's just, but the guy's making over $4 million a year. So, I mean, either way, he's not going to be hurting. But there's just too many red flags, warning signs for me.
Exactly.
And probably more than likely because of the COVID issues and the money aspect of it, he's probably going to get some additional time. And we've said it from day one on here. Jeremy Pruitt needs to succeed. Everybody that is a Tennessee fan wants Jeremy Pruitt to succeed. I mean, nobody goes into these new coaching regimes, wanting them to fail. I mean, everybody wants them to succeed, but gosh, it's just hard to see any kind of positives for sure.
Well, because we know what that entails. We know that if we're changing over again, it's going to be another 3-4 years to get back where we step back to, because there's going to be, you're going to lose recruits. You're going to have guys transfer out. It's just, that's all part of it. So to try to maintain some semblance of momentum that we built off of last year, it's you want this team to turn it around. You want them to, get going. And frankly, I think there needs to be some changes amongst the staff. And it really starts the top down. If Pruitt is handcuffing his coordinators and making it harder for them to do their job, then it needs to start from there. He is learning how to be a head coach right now. And I will say one thing: the head coaches that he's worked for have been in programs that are already successful, programs that are already they know how to practice, they know how to play, they know what it takes. He came into a Tennessee program that needed a complete culture transformation. They needed to get rid of the loser mentality, the way of thinking that had been ingrained in Tennessee football for the last decade plus. And that's not something that just happens overnight or over 1 or 2 seasons. It's purging the cancerous people out of the program, not just players, but staff as well. So it's I think you've just got to have a little bit of faith and hang on a little bit more and hope. But at the end of the day, you also look at what he said when he let the defensive line coach go. If something's not working out, you don't keep on at it. You take care of it. So
let's throw these comments up here back to back real quick. Andre Dolberry, please don't hate me for saying this, but we have to give this coach a chance. And then I want to follow it up with Blitz 621.
There's no hate there, Andre.
He says, in my opinion, year 4 is huge for Pruitt. At some point, we have to stop changing head coaches. And I think we all agree with that. Like, look, Pruitt's going to get another year. There's no doubt about it. I would almost go on record of saying if he loses every game the rest of the way, even if he loses to Vanderbilt, I think he's got a free pass for this year. That next year is very, very crucial for the future of Jeremy Pruitt. And when you're talking about giving a guy an opportunity, I agree with that. But that also means, we don't overlook his shortcomings. And for all the good he's done, and yeah, I'm beating this in the ground. We say it week in and week out. But it's the Georgia States and the BYUs and the Kentucky at home and Arkansas, a team that went 2.5 years without winning a conference game. And they bring in a first-year head coach, and you give up 24 unanswered points in the third quarter. Yes, he deserves a chance, but if you're going to be fair, you have to look at his body of work.
Yeah, and it's not just those losses, and I said it Monday. It's also the margin of loss in the other games. It's the not being competitive for an entire game against the Floridas, the Georgias, the Alabamas. We come out, we get our hopes up. We play with Georgia for a half, and then come out and just get railroaded. Get ran out of the stadium the second half. It's that right there. You just put on there significant improvement and playing a complete entire football game, not just a half. And it's the thing that is most concerning to me is the seemingly lack of development that we're seeing from these players. And I don't think it's anything on the players. I think it's the coaching, and they're not getting the development. And it's particularly look at the quarterback position.
Yeah, as far as the defensive development, that's what's been so surprising this year, because when you really look at last year, the defensive line overachieved. Darrell Taylor worked, progressed into a second round draft pick. Nigel Warrior ended up being all conference safety. And that's where I think, coupled with that, along with the winning streak to end the season and then to start the season 2-0. I mean, I think that's why everybody was so gung ho. They were thinking, I know I was saying, we've got a coach down there that is developing talent. And I think that they were. I think that he severely underestimated the impact of Tracy Rocker and Cher and Chris Rump on the defensive side. I think whenever he allowed those, now, whether or not that those three wanted to stay because, being difficult to work for or whatever. But there was rumblings even last year that there was probably going to be coaching changes on the defensive side of the ball because of recruiting purposes. And I think that has been a key detriment to the lack of development that we're seeing on the defensive side of the football this year. Offense, there's just absolutely no excuse whatsoever. I mean, there's just none because I don't outside of Jay Graham, that's the only new coach that's on the offense, I believe, this year. That's another thing with this. I mean, here we were talking about COVID and, the lack of spring practice and all that. And you would think that a team that was bringing back both coordinators, the head coach, that there would be a lot more continuity. But this football team, for whatever reason, has regressed horribly. I mean, just absolutely. It's just like a shell of itself. And it's just really it really looks more like the team that played against Georgia State and BYU to start out 2019. Mm-hmm. I mean, this getting back to the fan base is fed up with it because this has been going on since 2009 or since 2008 when Fulmer got fired. I mean, it's just rinse, repeat. Yeah, and we this fan base just wants to win. I mean, that's all that we ask for. And, I don't think anybody expects a national championship every single year. I know I don't. I don't think that they expect an SEC championship every single year. But, you would like to think that you were in contention to win the East, yes, at least, 2 out of every four years, that you would like to think that you were at least finishing first or second. But it's not going to happen. And if Hugh Freeze ends up at South Carolina, we might as well get ready because we'll be playing for, at best, fourth with Kentucky.
That ain't going to happen. That ain't going to happen either. That ain't going to happen.
Whether or not it does or not, but if South Carolina gets a good football coach and we continue on with this path, then we've sunk even lower.
I'm sick and tired of hearing about COVID because every team in the country is dealing with COVID. That's not a free pass for Jeremy Pruitt and this football team. And yeah, I know he threw the numbers out there and they were bad and the contact tracing and all that stuff. You got a 5th-year senior quarterback, a lineman an offensive line full of 5 stars. That's not an excuse. And then all we heard was how talented these freshman wide receivers are, but yet they can't find their way on the field. And Lee Huber, to go along with that, drops a $10 super chat. Thanks, Lee, for the support. He says, Pruitt needs to start playing these young kids. They are hungry. That is why they came here, for a chance to play. Also, he has to keep this recruiting class alive. And yeah, he does. He does. And especially with the new transfer rules, Hubs talked a lot about that this week on VolQuest. Talked about, hey, if you don't play these kids, they're going to be ready to hit the road. That's a new thing that these coaches are going to have to deal with. And I saw somebody in the chat earlier also talking about D. Beckwith and what he tweeted out Saturday night in regards to, he's pissed. These kids are pissed. And what do? You show up and you practice, each and every week, but then you get deeper and deeper into the season. You're not getting out opportunities. I just don't understand. He is going to have to do it. And that's why, going back to the very beginning of the show, talking about, an extra bye week for these kids. All we heard about was we didn't get spring practice, and Harrison Bailey didn't get enough reps and this and that. Well, now you've got 2 weeks off within a 3-week period. This is that opportunity. You've been doing the scrimmages. This is an opportunity. It is time to develop Harrison Bailey and get him ready to play football, because I think it would be a huge step for Jeremy Pruitt. It would be extending the old olive branch to the fan base to go ahead and say, we're making a youth movement. We're going to bring in, we're going to let Harrison Bailey play and focus on the future. I think that would give him a little bit more leeway, I guess, with the fan base.
And I 100% agree. At this point in time, sitting at 2-4, and with the embarrassing losses and the way that they've been absolutely destroyed in these games, to me, that's your only hope with these next four games is to get some excitement out there with these younger players. I mean, that's what that you have to be focusing on. I mean, that's what you have to be focusing on. And again, what's the difference between 2-8 or 3-7? Because there is nobody that's going to get excited if the only game that Tennessee wins from the rest of the season is against Vandy. There is going to be zero excitement. And if you continue on this same path with this conservative play calling, like Todd Mills just said, open up playbook. Yes, I mean, open it up. At this point, what have you got to lose? What have you really got to lose? I mean, at best, this team is staring 3-7 in the face. You will not convince me that this team is going to be capable of beating Texas A&M, Auburn, and Florida, unless something just drastically changes. And I just think that that's pretty slim, because like Dauber said, and like we've been saying, there is something internally that is majorly wrong with this team right now.
Yeah. I had a point and it just left me.
Well, what I was going to say, we talk about leadership, and we talk about coaches and infighting, whether it's with the players, coach, whatever it is, but also how much on-field leadership did this football team lose? You talked about the guys on defense losing Batuli and Taylor and Nigel Warrior. That's huge. I mean, it is. It's huge for this team. So, and then you flip over to the offense and you lose a guy like Jawan Jennings. And maybe when you look at physical ability, look, Jennings was great, man. He was a great wide receiver. But I think this team still has talented wide receivers. We're clearly seeing a loss in talent on defense. But I really think the receivers have some talent. We're just not – they should have had Jalen Hyatt on the field earlier. Palmer's been great. But I think we're seeing a lack of leadership across the board. Coaching, players, everybody.
Yeah, I definitely think it starts at the top and goes down. You hardly see the coaches on the sideline getting after anybody with the mistakes that are being made. Offensive line, we've talked about that, full of 4- and 5-star kids, and the procedure penalties, the things that are happening across the offensive line. And again, it goes to that position group is underachieving. It reflects on the position coach, which is Will Friend, which is Jeremy Pruitt's buddy, he was in his wedding, for God's sake.
That's going to be very telling, though. Can he make the move and get rid of his old pal?
I mean, that's what I think is causing strife and conflict on this staff. You've got guys who they're not doing their job. Their position group, their players are not up to par. But then you fire a guy 4 games into his coaching job when there are bigger issues than the defensive line.
Yep. It's going to be interesting to me. JP, do you think at the end of this season, how many coaches do you think are going to get let loose? Somebody's got to be a scapegoat here. Somebody's going to have to get let go.
I mean, I would say that probably between four and five assistant coaches, which is half of your staff, which is, I mean, his turnover rate is already very, very alarming. I don't know how many it is. I saw something that was posted said that he's had 20 different assistant coaches or something like that in his 2.5 years down there already. So, I mean, if that's the case, then he's basically had staff turnover twice then, essentially, because you can have nine, I think, assistant coaches. I mean, I'd say that's what I think. I mean, I think that if he doesn't do something as far as the quarterback coach and the offensive line coach, but I'll believe that one when I see it. I think that he'll die on that hill with Friend as his offensive line coach. I really do. I don't think that'll change. Will Chaney leave? I mean, it's certainly possible. It's certainly possible it is, but who has faith that he's going to be able to bring somebody in next year that's, got the track record that Chaney had? I really think that if he does part way with Chaney, that it's going to be somebody just young and inexperienced, It'll probably end up being another Larry Scott type hire. And, that was total disaster for Butch Jones last year.
What's going to be interesting to see is if he axes some people or if you've got guys jumping ship and looking elsewhere.
That's going to be very telling if guys start jumping ship.
Yeah.
And I'd say that's probably what'll end up happening because I definitely think that there's some friction between this coaching staff. I definitely do. I wouldn't be surprised if T Martin doesn't leave. I wouldn't be surprised at all either with that. Because this is the last year of his contract, right? Because this is his second year down there.
You sound
if I'm not
so
mistaken.
confident.
Well, I was trying to, Lord, because there's been so many staff changes, it's hard to keep.
I know.
I think this is his second year. Am I right on that? I'm pretty sure it is.
Yeah, because you had Helton and Helton there the first year.
Yeah, and then they had they had the guy from Memphis was the wide receiver coach the first year.
Yeah,
and then he moved to running backs last year when T came on. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. The whole thing's frustrating because I think most of this fan base is in agreement. I think we're ready for that youth movement. And somebody in the chat earlier was talking about Jarrett Garantano and how we missed the opportunity to see Harrison Bailey start. This extra bye week is giving Garantano time to heal up, and he's going to trot him out there, next Saturday. The reality is, if Jarrett Garantano didn't practice all week and he was in concussion protocol, but he was cleared to go on Friday, damn well he was going to trot him out there on Saturday. He was against Texas A&M. There's no doubt in my mind. And no matter what we think and all the people in the chat think and all the Tennessee fan base thinks, Jeremy Pruitt is going to do what Jeremy Pruitt wants to do. He's not going to play Harrison Bailey. He's not going to open up the offense. And that's one of the most frustrating things about it all. How much would you love it if they came out, the next time they play, that Auburn game's in question too. We may be looking at another bye week. But how amazing would it be to just see them come out first drive, Harrison Bailey, empty backfield, and just sling the rock? I don't care if he throws 8 interceptions. Let the kid play. Let him play. I'd rather watch Harrison Bailey go out there and sling the rock for 60 minutes than watch what we watched last week. And we even talked about it. It's halftime. Tennessee's up 13-0, and we're all like, that's the most boring half of football I have ever seen in my life. Let's have some fun, and let's go oop-de-oop and let's put old Tweeter out there and throw the rock, baby. Let's go.
I'll throw this in there. I was talking to a guy at work today, and he said he saw something, I think, on the Sports Source the other night, and they were saying that our first drive in every game in the second half, we've ran off tackle. How predictable, how boring is that? I mean, we hit on it there a couple weeks ago. The predictability of the offensive game plan up to this point. We started off a couple games. We're like, oh yeah, they're just being vanilla. They're trying to save stuff. I don't know. I think it's a lack of confidence in the quarterback and a lack of execution across the board offensively that is what's hindering the play calling. Because Chaney wants to open the playbook up. He wants to get the ball to the playmakers, but I don't think he's able to because of what's on the field.
And again, what has this football team done? What has this football team done this season? What different? Look, boys, it don't matter if you lose 70-3 or you lose 3-0. It does not matter. This football team is not winning. I think last week somebody said insanity is doing the same thing over and over and over and expecting a different result. So let's stop playing Jarrett Garantano and saying he gives us the best chance to win, but yet we can't really throw the ball because we're terrified of our quarterback. Let's try something different. How about that? Let's do something different.
Let's try to score some points.
Let's try something.
Well, that best chance to win has you sitting at 2-4.
Exactly.
And blowout losses to all four teams that you've lost to. And yeah, I mean, I know that you can argue that Arkansas wasn't a blowout loss, but come off of it. We got outscored 24.
Might as well have been. Yeah.
Third quarter was a blowout.
Yeah, it was 24-0. So yeah, I mean, it has been. It's just been a total blowout, and I think that's part of the problem. I don't think Pruitt is actually trying to win these football games. And I know that sounds crazy, but I think he's gotten so conservative. I think that I don't know. I mean,
I don't know about that.
I just think no.
You don't think he's trying to win the game?
There are some very concerning things that happened at the end of that Arkansas game.
With his game planning and the way that his in-game coaching goes, like Boogie said, I mean, he doesn't have that intensity during the game. Is he deliberately trying to lose? No, I'm not saying that. But the way that he is coaching, it gives off that perception that he's not trying to win the game. And I think that's why that these players are showing the frustration. I think that has a lot to do with it too, because he is essentially just choking the life out of these players.
Are you wanting him to start kicking over more whiteboards?
I mean, whatever it takes.
I wouldn't be mad at it. This is a good point from Sean Calvert. He's not conservative. He goes for it on fourth down all the time. He does, but I think he lost that swagger the last couple of weeks. He has lost that. I don't know, man, that confidence. We've seen him go for it on 4th and 1 from like his own 30 in the first half. That guy's gone. Like, that guy is not here anymore. I'm not seeing that killer instinct that he used to have. He's playing and coaching not to lose instead of playing and coaching to win. I don't know, man. It just seems like a different guy.
You cannot convince me that he wasn't conservative Saturday against Arkansas.
He was, yeah.
I mean, he was extremely conservative, even in the first half, and when we were up 13-0, extremely conservative. Just like Boogie said, with 6 minutes to go in the game, and you're down 11 points, and we ran 7 straight times, I think it was. Whenever we got the ball back down there, and the only time that they threw was on the 4th down incompletion. That's not conservative. Then I don't know what is. Well, and he was conservative against Bama, and I mean, that's what I don't understand. Whenever you're 20-some point dog to somebody, why not? Why
Roll the
not
dice.
at least try? Yes, try to at least put some pressure on them. But what do? We just keep 3 and out punt, 3 and out punt. Run it right up the gut, punt.
Yeah, I agree with you. And like he came out and said after the game Saturday, when he was asked why he didn't kick the field goal, because we weren't close enough. But then they had kicked 2 field goals longer than that earlier in the game.
I think he screwed up. Made the wrong decision, and then he wouldn't own up to it. So he was just throwing an excuse out there. I think we're hearing a lot of excuses from Jeremy Pruitt lately. A lot.
Yeah, and it's
starting to look more and more Butch Jones-ish.
It is concerning.
Yeah, especially that Arkansas post-game press conference. And if you missed the show Monday night, we kind of broke down some of that press conference. Go back and listen to that show. It's very concerning the way he spins things when talking about player development, COVID, in-game decision-making. We were too far out, and Smaglia has been battling a leg. Wow, he sure didn't look like it when he blasted him home from 50 and 48 earlier in the game, Coach.
Yeah, I think that one from 50 would have been good from 55, 60. He bombed it.
He was fine. And that kid, he found himself. We were concerned early in the year. He's back, man. He has that swagger. He's the only guy on the team that seems to have any energy. And the coach doesn't trust him in an 11-point game with how many minutes left? 6 minutes left, something like that.
Yeah.
Absolutely ridiculous.
I'm telling you, it's just a vicious cycle with this football program. It is. It's darn depressing. It is, because I have zero faith for the last four games. Even if they do beat Vanderbilt, it'll be an ugly, ugly win, sloppy, ugly, just a horrible win. And then, the other 3 games have zero confidence in, zero faith in it. And then you're going to start next year. You're basically starting over them, because you're going to have new coaches. Obviously, surely we're going to have a new quarterback, which, hopefully that could potentially help things. But unless he gets a grad or not either a grad transfer or a transfer, if that transfer rule goes into effect, then you are basically putting your coaching career, head coaching career at Tennessee, in the hands of Harrison Bailey, which you have basically come out and said that he is not ready to play and doesn't give you any confidence whatsoever. And then Salter. That's it. That's a scary proposition for Pruitt to be in next year for sure.
Well, and listen, we don't know how the future is going to look in terms of COVID and what next year is going to entail. Are they going to be limited in the off season? Are they going to have a fall and a spring camp next year? We know that recruiting right now has been affected because you don't have the high school kids going to camps. You don't have all these. There are still some states that aren't playing high school football right now. It's the next couple of years. Recruiting, the whole cycle of recruiting is going to be a little bit weird in terms of knowing what you're going to get and the rating of these kids, because their body of work from high school is not going to be what we're used to seeing.
Oh yeah, we very, very likely, not likely, but we very well could not have spring practice again. There could be no. We don't know. We're gonna figure it out. Some of you guys are like, "Oh man, this is the same old crap we've been talking about for 2 weeks." It is, and I know this. We honestly debated not even going live tonight because there's not a whole lot to talk about. We threw the bonus show in Monday, but we really don't like going, that long in between. But we wanted to go live and talk to you guys, and let's go ahead and plug these while we're here. The limited edition State Pride Talkin VAWLS hats. They are going to be available until next Wednesday, and then they are gone forever. The link's in the description below. Also, it's in the live chat. It's pinned at the top. You can check that out. But tons of different options, a lot of different colors. They are a little pricey, but that's because you're getting good quality merchandise like, Nike. But these are awesome, man. Dauber and I both have them. Good
the
stuff.
logo is much bigger than it looks like on the digital.
Yeah, you can see Dauber's hat there. You can see how much bigger the logo actually is. But yeah, check that out. The link's in the description for all of that. And then also, we got our regular merchandise, the Talkin VAWLS logo merchandise, the Talkin VAWLS State Pride stuff. All the links to all of that is in the description below. We would appreciate it if you check it out. A lot of you guys are saying YouTube's down. I'm checking it on my phone. It's like if you're not in the chat, you can't get back in the chat. So that may explain why we only have 67 people watching. But yeah, YouTube looks to be dead.
About like Tennessee football.
It's only fitting. It's only fitting that would happen. It's weird. It's loading the chat, but it's not loading the video.
But that.
Pecan says he's only been able to watch 6 minutes of the stream.
But I mean, in all seriousness with it, how much longer does this fan base put up with this? And I mean, yes, I know that there's always going to be fans and stuff, but really, this administration has really got to look at this and see, because whether anybody wants to admit it or not, COVID has certainly changed the outlook on people attending sporting events, even following sports. I know, and I'll admit, even this year when there was no sports going on really this summer and anything like that, when they did start coming back, I didn't even watch it. I didn't even watch baseball until the playoffs started. I had no interest whatsoever. I didn't watch a single basketball game. Even this college football season outside of Tennessee, I really haven't watched a whole lot of college football. So next year, if we finish 3-7, let's just say, with a win against Vandy, and they, and this COVID gets under control, and you're allowed to have, a full stadium in there, just how many people are just going to re-up and donate and give that money to this university, knowing that this is a 15-year problem that just never seems to end. I mean, at some point in time, it's going to end, because those people that saw, the success that this program had in the 90s and the 2000s and stuff like that, those people are getting older, and we've already lost out on a decade's worth of our youth, because this program has been so horrible. It's working on 2 decades worth. They're not going to be interested, because they don't even care about Tennessee football, because they've been horrible.
But read this comment right here. This is why. Your buddy Kyle, his arms look just like yours, JP. I mean, exactly like yours. He says,
oh yeah.
He says,
yeah.
I can say I'm over it. I truly am, but I'm going to watch every single game while they do the same thing, expecting a different result. Then I'll be back here complaining. Look, we had 300 and some people here Saturday. Look at those guns. Saturday night, late game. What it end? 11 o'clock. Just three random dudes, like you said at the top of the show, JP. 3 random guys. We're not experts. We're not insiders. We are just like everybody in the chat who happened to start a YouTube show, and here we are just talking. And we had 300 people here listening, because that's how passionate this fan base is. And I don't know if that's ever going to change. I really don't know if it's ever going to change. I know the 3 of us will be here week in and week out. We always are. You ever watch the old movie? What's it called? With about the Red Sox. It was the year the Red Sox won the World Series.
Oh, with
Drew Barrymore
Barrymore. the guy that has the season tickets.
Yeah, and he talks about it. He's like,
Fever
look,
pitch.
I love
Fever
more
pitch,
because
yeah.
I am a Red Sox fan. That's us, man. That is the three of us. We know passion. We know loyalty because no matter what, Tennessee football is always there for us. Every Saturday in the fall, we tune in because that's what we do. It's not just a game to us, man. I know the two of you are just like me. You've missed birthdays. You've missed weddings.
Cookouts.
You cook at family events. You have made sacrifices because that's how much Tennessee football means to you. And for one of my favorite quotes, for those that believe, no explanation is needed. For those that don't, no explanation is due. That's Tennessee football. Like when you look at somebody and you're talking about it, immediately they understand. Immediately. It's like Kyle just said, I'll be here. I'll be here because that's what I do. That's what we all do, man. We all bleed orange, and that's why we're all sitting here on a Wednesday night at 7:46 talking about Tennessee football when they're not even going to play on Saturday, man. We will always be here because that's what we do.
For whatever reason.
For whatever reason.
Yeah. Yes, but what I'm saying though is we might be here, but how many of us are going to donate and buy season tickets and go down there and spend money if we continue to struggle? That's the thing.
It's been going on for how many years now?
I understand that, but that's what I was saying. I was saying, you're already losing out on decades. I mean, kids that are 20 years old that are probably down there in college right now, they have never seen Tennessee be competitive.
Right.
So when they graduate here in a couple of years, are they going to be like, yeah, I'm going to start donating and, having season tickets and, raising a family and bringing them to the games and stuff? That's what I'm saying. They are going to have to do something to energize this athletic department, this football team, and they're going to have to bring somebody in that can turn this program around and get them to being competitive. Because if you continue to get destroyed by the Georgias and the Bamas and the Floridas, and then, you throw in all of these other horrible losses, the fan base is going to be over it. Yes, you are going to have the diehards that just can't give it up. And again, I can't tell you how many times that I wished I could just turn it off and just say, I'm done. You don't know how many times I've said that, but I can't do it. I can't. Nope. I have tried. I mean, I have tried to do it. I sat there Saturday night and I was like, just turn it off. Just turn it off and just wait for Boogie to send the link to come and talk about it. But I couldn't do it. I had to sit there and watch it to the bitter end. I had to watch it to the bitter end.
You watched it till the bitter end, and then you got on and you did a show that you came up with the idea for. And then you probably signed off of this show and you probably went and read VolQuest for an hour or two. And then you probably read VolQuest all week long. You probably watched the coach's show. You watched the post-game press conference. You watched the Monday press conference. You watched the Wednesday press conference. Then you decide, hey,
you have a camera spying on me, Boogie.
I know. I used to work out with you, JP. I'd be like, it's your set. Hold on, Hubs just posted something. I know. The three of us are the same. We're made of the same cloth. It's just, it is what it is.
It's ingrained.
It is. It is.
I mean, yeah, it's hard to be excited for that. But it is kind of easy to get excited for what's getting ready to start up in a couple weeks. And I'll go ahead and throw out a little plug here for Talkin VAWLS basketball. You guys will have to come and see me and JP talk about the basketballs. That's pretty exciting. Had a 4-star kid commit to us today. Coach Barnes he's got that team rolling. I mean, I really hope Pruitt was going to come in and do the same for football. But
let's just have our fingers crossed that COVID doesn't derail this basketball season because, there's probably at least one or two of those freshmen that are probably one and dones. And, that would be the most Tennessee thing ever,
that they don't see the court.
Yeah. Or one or two games or something like that. I'm just worried to death that COVID is going to end up causing major issues with that too.
So speaking of that, I saw today that they finalized the seating plans for basketball. There are going to be approximately 4,000 people allowed in Thompson Bowling, which is about 18%. Down the road in Johnson City at ETSU, 618 fans. 10% is what they're going to allow in Freedom Hall. So, there's going to be a lot of people watching a lot of stuff on TV for the foreseeable future. It's funny to watch all these football games and you see all these stadiums and it looks like a spring game.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if that's playing into part of the it's been hard to get into. I know we've talked about it off air, the three of us for a while. And I think it maybe has something to do with that, but then also, of course, the product on the field. It's just that kind of it's hard to get pumped up for a game. You kind of, okay, here we go again. I saw somebody post earlier. It's kind of like Groundhog Day. You're just repeating the same thing over and over again. Just ready for a change. And if it takes cutting the head of the snake off to get it going back in the right direction, maybe that's what needs to happen. But for now, while Fulmer, the athletic director, he's got all his chips in with Pruitt as a fan, and it's like what you'd said earlier, Boogie, and I think somebody else had said it in the chat. Whoever they trot out at quarterback during the game, I'm going to be supporting them. Whoever the coach is, I'm going to be supporting them. But yeah, as a fan, as the three of us have this platform to come on and talk about after the game, we can be critical. We can play Monday morning quarterback all we want and say, well, you should have done this, you should have done that. That's our right as a fan.
Yeah, of course it is. It is. Let me hit these. Oh crap, I lost it. Let me hit these last couple of super chats here. Pecan getting it in. He's like, oh, these guys are going to go off air soon. I got to throw some money at them, which we definitely appreciate, Pecan. We appreciate it. Winky the Pooh got a raise and a new contract this year. At this point, don't fire Pruitt. Toss out Fulmer. We are the joke of the SEC. Well, we will be if we lose to Vanderbilt, that's for sure. And then he comes right back, Pecan, with another $5 super chat and says, but to be honest, we can't fire anyone because of funding. I don't know what Tennessee finances look like, but I'd imagine this year doesn't have the income stream. Yep. And that's something we talked about, Monday. Yes, I put the clickbaity cover photo on it saying, Jeremy Pruitt, you're fired and all that stuff. We had some good fun. We put him on trial. That was a fun show. You guys showed up. It was fun. And a lot of people didn't like that. But, we talked about it on that show. Tennessee, you're talking about a year where they had 25% capacity. That's difficult. That's a difficult time to pay Butch Jones, Jeremy Pruitt, and a new football coach.
Well, and like what I just said, you're talking about 4,000 people at basketball games.
Yep.
Those two sports are your money makers at the University of Tennessee. And I think the women's basketball, the number was actually less than that. They're only doing season ticket holders. There's no single game tickets. This whole from March through who knows how long, the athletic department fiscally is struggling. They were asking season ticket holders in every sport to still donate, potentially not be guaranteed tickets, and still send their money in, and push over their allocations to next year. It's at the end of the day, it is a money making business, and there are decisions that are made based on the product on the field, and then there are decisions that are made based on the business side of it. And I think we're battling or treading the line of we need to make a decision based on the product on the field, but we're hampered by the business part of it right now.
And the fact that Fulmer gave him an extension, that doesn't help either.
Absolutely.
That definitely does not help either. Look, we gotta wrap this thing up. I do want to say this. I know YouTube had some problems tonight, which sucks. That had our numbers down a little bit. So if you haven't done so yet, help us out. Hit that thumbs up. We got 66 thumbs up. We would appreciate it if you guys would do that. Also, don't forget the limited edition Squad Locker Talkin VAWLS State Pride. That's a long freaking name. Logo hats are the link to that is in the description. It's pinned in the chat. All that good stuff. Check it out. Check out all the merchandise. We're not going to do a show on Saturday since there's no game. Look, we're going to take time. We're going to spend some time with family. We've missed a lot of birthday parties and weddings. We got to make it up on this Saturday. But we will be back next Wednesday for the Wednesday show, 7 p.m. Eastern time. We'll be breaking down Auburn. And maybe even if that game gets canceled, we'll probably still do a Wednesday show. I don't want to go longer than a week without getting on and streaming and hanging out with you guys. But I think that's it. I think that's going to wrap up this episode. Again, hit that thumbs up on the way out the door. But for Vols, JP, for Dauber, my name is Boogie Bentley, and I just want to reiterate and say one more time, Happy Veterans Day. Thank you. We appreciate all of you guys, whether guys and gals, whether you served in the past or present. You give us the right and the freedom to do what we do. Thank you, and go Big Orange.
The songs howl like me, poets sat in our chains, soaking moonlit falls, unbroken past this inundated orb that we draw home, and it's night and I'm alone and I'm alive.